Call this meeting of the Perryton Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members are present. This meeting has been duly called. The notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Would you all pray with me, please? Dear Heavenly Father, we're so grateful for the many, many blessings that you brought before us. We thank you for the opportunity to serve the community. We ask that the service that we provide be within your will for us. We ask that you be with our students, our staff members as they get started on the school year, as they continue in the year. We ask for their safety and their willingness to accept new ideas. Most of all, we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, whose name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Item number 3 on the agenda, public hearing on tax rate for the 2024 school year. Ms. Green?
Okay. We're proposing a 73.8 rate for M&O and a 29 rate for INS. So we'll open it up for any public comments at this time. And hearing no public comments, we'll close that.
The public was rather quiet.
Yes.
Next item. Also, public hearing regarding the financial integrity rating system of Texas. Where I've already cheated and looked ahead. Yay us.
Yes.
Or yay Brittany.
Well, yay for the district. We received the highest score you can, of course, 100 once again. So we're doing what they want us to do.
Is the ceiling past comment meaning we're doing better than the 100% numbers? Is that what that means?
No, that one isn't given a numeric score. That one's just a yes
Just
or
a
no.
yes or no, okay.
Yeah.
Pass fail?
Yes. I think we can close that one. So.
Quick as well. Open forum. We do appear to have one for open forum. Ms. Mel, we have 5 minutes.
I don't need that long,
To
but
say,
hey.
no, you have to go.
I have to go 5 minutes?
So you can't stop till I say go.
No, I just want to let y'all know that I'm doing the BAS team again. I have a student that I wasn't going to do it, and he just keeps on me about doing it, and this is going to get him through the year. So I would like to be the supervisor again, the sponsor, but I would like to ask for expenses to be paid for myself. I know we've done this in the past. I don't know if we can do it again, but if it's possible. We usually just do a meal, 1 night of a hotel, and travel. So if that would be possible, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Starting here with reports, superintendent's report, Mr. Brown.
Okay, we've got just a couple things I'd like to bring you. First, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about enrollment and where we're at. We are, as of today, have a total of 1,907 students. When we back that up and try and compare apples to apples as best we can, for about this time last year, we end up with, we had about 1,979 last year. So we are ending up shaking out on the higher side of the range that I gave you. It looks like we're going to shake out of a loss of about 80 students. I would like to say this, not all of those are because of the tornado. There are some of those we know about that would have been lost regardless, but there is a good chunk of those that are families that had to go and live someplace else because they lost housing here. So, but it does seem like we're going to be shaking out at about an 80 student loss for the year, which that puts us into a little bit more of a crunch when it comes to budgeting, but I think we're well in hand. We're handling that very well. One other just little tidbit I might want to talk about, we've also tried to track students that were affected by the tornado. We had a donation, a large donation made to pay those fees for students who lost housing due to tornado. We're going to end up with about 296 students that qualify as homeless, which is, even though they may be living somewhere, they're in a temporary living situation, it doesn't, I know when you say qualifying as homeless, people have the idea of somebody living under a bridge. That's not at all what we're talking about here. But it's really any student that was forced into a temporary living situation. So we're going to end up having about 296 of those students, and we're doing what we can to take care of them. We are getting a contribution, so the fees that are going to be donated and paid for by the charitable contribution is a little over $5,000 at PHS and a little over $2,000 at the junior high for those students who are in need. So just a very sincere thank you to the person who is a group that is donating so that our students are in a little better situation to start the year.
You said 296 kids?
Say that again?
290. 290?
296 is what we will end up qualifying. Just an update on our bond process. The RFQ for hiring a construction manager is being developed at the moment. It should be out pretty soon, so we should start gathering proposals, and hopefully that will get in front of you guys fairly soon as well, so that we can continue taking step by step in our bond process. Here's some reports and just some general information that I need to give to you guys. We are required when it comes to ESSER funds. Now I'm going to talk federal funds for a minute, because we are required to report ESSER funds to you guys and progress on ESSER funds every 6 months. We're also required to report to you guys our intent to apply for federal funds. So these are the two things that I'm going to talk about. One is the ESSER funds. Right now, we are still on track for spending those according to the district's plan. The ESSER funds, this is the last year that ESSER funds are available to us, and we are going to be working on spending those now. ESSER 2 funds will be completing, when I say ESSER funds, ESSER 3 is mainly what we're talking about now, because those ESSER 3 is still, we're still spending that. ESSER 2 funds close out September 30th, and much of those have been spent on air conditioning, and our Mr. Kemp talked about air conditioning when we get to him, but we're progressing on that, and I think we're going to be in good shape there. I'm also required to review the RIPIX plan, which is the return to in-person continuity, return to in-person instruction and continuity of services. So, plan. Yeah. And that was developed right as ESSER funds were being given out to schools, and we were required to have a plan for getting kids back in schools. I think Perryton had a great plan at that time, getting kids back in schools, and I think we're seeing instructionally the benefits of that plan. Perryton was very quick to get kids back into the classroom. But since ESSER funds, one of the requirements of receiving the ESSER funds is I have to bring that plan before you every 6 months and be able to review it and acknowledge it. And so the plan you see is the same one that was developed and amended earlier. Right this time, we don't have any amendments.
I do have a couple of words to say, as I will anytime there's something that's federally mandated, that we write multiple pages off of federal guidelines. Just a caution, that I understand, I mean, this is the last year of the ESSER fund, so it's also the last year we'll have to have our in-person instruction and continuity of services plan, because we went with in-person instruction 6 weeks in, less than 6 weeks in, closer to 3, when we first decided, let's get these kiddos back in front of teachers, or teachers back in front of these kids. And I think you're exactly right that we've seen the great benefits for that. But I always have a bit of pause when I see wording that's required to be in here that talks about things like social distancing, which what we've seen now, the social distancing that is required of our students across the country, created nothing more than social dissonance than health. We've seen so many things that were supposedly for our own good that have been proven to not be so. Masking, distances, vaccines in certain situations, some of the silly things that were foisted upon big signs for us to be able to follow. So I just want to always toss out a word of caution that we utilize all of our senses to be able to analyze what's being tossed in front of us, what our eyes and ears and our minds are seeing, hearing, and thinking of, rather than instructions to forget what your eyes, ears, and minds are telling you and go by what we say. Wes's word of warning for today.
Did you want a motion to reject it?
Nope. You have to have
I
it.
think we have to.
And there are enough, and we did some modifications of it. There's a whole lot of mays and very few shalls in here.
Or
All the
must.
way through.
Yeah, they take up.
No, we did the right thing all the way through that, guys. I mean,
It does have the word equity in it once, but
Can we take the word COVID-19 out of it?
we cannot. We cannot, because that's part of the whole basis of the ESSER funds was all because of that. And I think as a district, we've utilized the funds that were made available to us very well to take care of some capital improvements that we really needed to take care of. But part of the trade-off, every dollar we take has a strength. And one of the strengths is to have an in-person instruction and continuity of services plan presented to the community every 6 months.
And I assume the ESSER funds are also tied to the signage in the schools about social distancing.
It
It's
is.
still there.
It is.
And it was nice to get new air conditioners. I mean,
And windows.
and windows.
And ventilation system, yes.
Yeah, so the little black and white paper never came.
Fortunately, let me say this, fortunately, since the 21-22 school year, this plan loses relevancy every day. So, even though we're required to have it in place, I think we've pretty well returned to normal. I'm glad to see that.
I will be quiet and return to order.
Thank you for your wise words. Mr. President.
Words of some sort.
Okay, the last thing, let me tell you guys is one of our requirements is we have to talk to you about our intent to apply for federal grants. Most of the federal grants that we're applying for fall into the ESSA category, which is a large umbrella that fits about 4 or 5 grants underneath it, or numerous grants. We're applying for, under that is Title I funds, Title II funds, Title III funds, Title IV funds, and also Carl Perkins funds. A quick rundown, Title I is directed at at-risk kids to try to make up the gap that an at-risk kid might have. Title II funds are staff development and developing retention and recruitment of staff. Title III funds are mainly focused on bilingual and emerging bilingual students. And Title IV funds mainly focus on school safety. We will be applying and running those funds according to the federal guidelines that they give us. The same for the Perkins 5 grant, that mainly centers around CTE. We'll be applying for those funds as well, and those will be used for materials in our career and technical instruction in our classrooms, mainly at PHS. That concludes that report. Now, I would entertain any questions. I'm not sure what.
I'm just gonna give a comment. I've been told that Senator Sparks is going to write a letter to the State Board of Education requesting more of a staggered approach to the CTE, CCMR implementation. So we're getting a little bit of help there. I don't know if it'll take any root, but there's a little bit of a movement going on to try to, after suspending everything for 5 years, they're going to try to stagger it in rather than just go back and go all the way back. So
Please pass along my thank you and gratefulness to Senator Sparks for making it.
next time he's up here, you guys jump on him. So, but he's doing us a favor. So.
Let us move forward to campus reports, and we'll start first with the Louis Penny Accelerated Education Center.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Everything's going well. We have students coming and going, realizing maybe online instruction is a little more difficult than they anticipated, and so our enrollment is 11, but we've had some come and go already since then, and after the first of the 6 weeks, that generally changes quite a bit. So we may have quite a few more in the next 3 to 4 weeks show up, so they kind of trickle in. So, any
What-
questions?
Sorry, what's our DAP capacity?
So capacity, really stretching the limits is 17. And that's in 2 rooms with someone in the room by themselves, with up to 14. I'm very uncomfortable with that. But if that's what we had to do, that's what we'll do. We have 5 in there right now due to vaping, just so you know. And, you know, we don't, knock on wood, have any major violent offenders in the moment. And so it is less daunting when you think about that, but when might that change? We don't have any from other districts at the time.
I wondered
It's
about
all
the
in-house.
vaping and from them too.
Correct,
But
correct.
just
And
head
so
count.
I'll have to have that conversation, of course. It will be, you know, Perryton students will have precedent
Mhm.
over anyone else. And there is in chapter 37 a new paragraph that speaks to that and says that if the DAP is full,
Mhm.
you can put that student in ISS until such time that a DAP spot is available.
Mhm.
So it does give that leeway.
Yeah, or bump somebody out that's not violent if you end up with a violent DAP
Correct. We
offense.
could talk about, could you shorten the days for this student? They've followed all the rules.
Mhm.
And so
Or bump them
that's,
back to ISS until there's a DEA spot.
we could, if
Okay.
that student desperately needed to be out
Out.
of the school. For sure. Absolutely.
Greg, are we anticipating the big, I mean, that H Bill 114 obviously changed the rules here, so.
Correct.
Are we anticipating, just based on what's happened at the high school in the past, I guess I could ask Dory this, but are we anticipating a big surge for the vaping?
You're talking junior high too.
Yeah, I know.
Absolutely.
Not just high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I think this is actually a budding problem, so.
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't, but
It's absolutely true. It's everywhere. It's prevalent. It's easy to get. It's easy to hide. You know, catching it, whether you catch it or not, is really where it boils down. And so, you know, all the principals that we've all talked about what we can do to try to, you know, keep them from doing those things. But it's easier said than done. And so, you know, that's the truth of it.
And it's gonna land on y'all.
It will.
Is Tori right there?
Yeah, she is right there.
Tori, would you mind?
Hey, what percentage of those vapes that you guys find are the THC?
So far this year, none of them have been THC. Last year, I think we found 3 total.
Okay.
is there a distinction in the rule, in the law that?
No, I don't think so. I just
Vaping.
curiosity, how many were loaded and how many weren't.
Yeah.
No.
Well, even when I was at the junior high 2 years ago,
Mhm.
it was 50%. So, and not found multiple.
Terrible.
So, you know,
Yeah,
like I said, it's easy to get. That's where we are.
Okay.
Keep us posted.
It's gonna be a problem.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be a problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else today?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Tori and Labrador, how about high school?
Hi, Tori. So everything has been good. They're busy at the high school. Do you have any questions for me?
I like all of the QR codes.
I do.
Yeah.
I was hoping that I did update it to make it nicer with a single QR code, but I didn't get that in fast enough. Next time it'll just be one QR code.
The Ranger Care Closet's really nice. That's cool, that the students are taking care of each other.
Yeah, they're doing a really good job with that. I have been really happy and pleased with all of my staff and students since coming back. Everybody's really stepping up and helping each other out.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to the junior high.
Hello.
Howdy.
Everything has been great at junior high. We've had a really smooth start to the year, which has been nice. The only thing beyond what's in the report is we had a cross-country meet on Saturday, We have 48 runners in cross country. Coach Stacy Erickson is coaching our cross country runners, and our boys placed first and our girls placed fourth. So we had a great start to
Good, yeah.
the junior high cross country season. So it's been good. We had volleyball last night. I'm not sure of all the results yet. I didn't have a chance to get with them today to find out, but we're starting off strong. Thanks.
Good.
Hi. It's all good at Williams. Ranger camp started, it's all great.
Good job doing your drills. There are a lot of drills.
Yes, and they did excellent. Excellent.
That one was easy.
I hope that's right.
Yeah, all is great at Kinder and Wright. Started the year fast and furious. The students have already, got into the routines and are doing great. Just really want to brag on my staff at both buildings being a little bit shorthanded just in general. Everyone has just jumped in and just really, if there's a need, they just step in and take care of it. So, it has been a great start to the school year.
Now they just got to get us parents trained.
We worked on that all year.
I know, I've
I got a
noticed.
job for Sarah.
Yeah, it's bad. Charlotte's like, Mom, you're not supposed to do that. Yes, ma'am.
What about Kinder?
She's Kinder. Yeah, she's the both.
Just kidding. Get an extra page. My brain says there's a separate report. It's not. Now, we're
Humans.
the directors. We'll start off with Mr. Kemp.
Things going pretty smooth when we start up, like I said. We've got all the air conditioning that was changed, that's going to be changed out at kinder and junior high, completed except for some minor details we had to, having to upsize some breakers on some of the single phase units for the newer models. They pulled a little bit more amperage than the other ones did, about 2 or 3 amps. And so they're ultimately tripping the breaker every now and then. Not as soon as you turn on, but they may run a day or two and then trip it. So those are, I think the old units had a 20 amp minimum, and these are 26, I believe. What they're on. I think there's 7 of them. You have to change the breaker down. Wright Elementary, the guys are getting close to completing over there. So that's, when we get those done, we'll be pretty much done with everything except the high school gym. We're still waiting on units for those. What I'm understanding, what I heard last was middle of September.
At least before the snow flies, right?
Maybe.
Before that. Everything else is been busy with work orders, but we're doing okay.
Alan, do we lose lights underneath the stands at the football field?
Yeah.
So what is our
That-
plan
that's
there?
on
was part of the lighting project at the football field.
Okay.
It was one thing that did not get tied back in, and nobody thought to check it. So
Okay.
that can be on me. I didn't.
Well, no, I
didn't think-
didn't know if we had a
I didn't
plan
think
to.
Flip the switch on up in the,
Okay.
the one on the east side, we have a lot of trouble over there with kids throwing rocks.
Mm-hmm.
They break the bulbs out, and they actually shattered one of the bulb holders, and it shorted out through the breaker. But we've already got the west side fixed.
Okay. Great. Thank
Working
you.
on the east side, but yeah, it was a simple fix. I just didn't get it tied back in.
I don't care about that east side.
Yeah. I don't want them tearing
You're
our
either on the home
stuff
team or you're not,
up,
right?
All on the way over.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Concerns?
Very good. Okay, move on to IT department. I saw it in here. There he is.
Hi.
Anything to add?
I have nothing to add to the report.
Questions? Good. Awesome. Thank you. And you said Colson here. So let's go to.
The door's weak, that maybe.
There he is. He just walked in.
Perfect time.
Hey,
Your
Right on
turn.
time. Other than my report, I really don't have anything to add. Kicked off football season Friday night. Didn't go how we wanted it to go, but very proud of the fight that we showed. Just got to clean up some mental mistakes that will get fixed. Volleyball had a tournament this last weekend. They have another one at home this weekend, our varsity girls, so come out and support them. And then cross country is on the road somewhere this weekend. Borger, I think, yeah. And then next weekend we've got the Wolf Creek Classic here, so that's what's going on in athletics. Any questions? Perfect.
Thanks, sir.
Absolutely.
Now we go to food service. Ms. Walker.
It's been very busy, processing apps and getting all the kids in and doing what we can and Rick's our list and giving Alan work orders because everything's already breaking down and rates are going out. It's just, it's lovely. So we're trucking along.
How are the IOUs coming?
I sent out today the remainder of what from last year needed to be taken care of to the principals so that we can get that off our books by Thursday. And they went down significantly. I will say, I think Reed called on a parent today that we've called for 3 months now, and they came in today and paid. So a lot of times they don't necessarily listen to us as well as they do the principals. So I think we're all kind of wanting to get together and start like a list where we can report it to the principals once a week. And then when it gets at a certain thing, we can both work on that and not just being, because they see the students a lot more and probably the parents than we do. And maybe we can keep it down this year a little bit better, so. But it went down significantly, but it's, you know. And like I said, when they leave, you know, if they leave and they don't know they leave, that has to be taken care of. When they do leave, we do, you know, ask that they check with us and we'll check and make sure that they don't owe and try to collect it before they get away. So, but we're working on it and several of the, I got the homeless list from Kelly and several of those we put on yesterday that were like nothing. You know, so we could get them started as soon as possible.
Yeah, we need to do something to help those kids out, for sure. And that's why I was asking. There's got to be a better solution for this school than, you know, worry about those IOUs, but I see it on your list, and I know it's a concern, but surely we can raise some money or something to get that taken care of.
Yes, it would be very beneficial on some of those that owe, because I did ask if we could be retroactive since we were in July or June, and they said no, it's the time that you get your list, which several of them were on like SNAP or Medicaid, and that doesn't change because you're free on that. And that kind of is our number one free that we distinguish. And then there's, you know, Head Start and homeless and all that fills in the other gaps, and so.
So you said something about Thursday. Is that just end of the month? Is that why you're trying to get everything off by the end of the month?
Well, because by September 1st, we're not to carry the.
Right, okay.
And the schools have kind of, what's the balance now? Thousands, hundreds-ish?
It was
ballpark?
thousands last time I heard from you.
It was thousands.
It's 40-something at Kinder.
At Kinder, I have about a $50 IOU balance. At Ride, I have a $250 balance.
Are we talking from last year?
Yes.
Carry over to this year? Okay.
And Reed was down to, I think after that one paid like 170. And I can't remember just high or high school right now.
700.
Yeah, you just don't want to change precedents.
No, I get it. I understand.
You know, and a lot of those, when you get into, junior high has a lot that just leave, and you don't know it, I think, till they leave, and that's a lot of those that you have a hard time getting hold of. But it has gone down dramatically, and we have had several come pay it since the first of the year, so that's been, and they've paid big amounts, like it's been $90-something that they paid, so it's gone down. It's just not, I know it's not 2,000 now, but it's still higher than what we want at junior high and high school.
Okay, thank you.
And y'all have free breakfasts for the reduced lunch, and those, did that go
That is
out
going
all
to-
4 radio stations?
We haven't got to get to the radio stations because we haven't had a minute to get to the radio
Okay.
stations. And they really warned us on,
Saying it before
y'all
it's
are,
valid.
yeah, you're gonna think we're crazy, but on avert identification, that's a big, big deal with food service. They do not want you to do anything to make that go out. We did put it on our website, Daisy put that on there for us. And you're very careful on how you do it. Anybody that comes and fills out an app with us that becomes reduced, we tell them starting
Confidential.
September 1st, you'll be this. But really, we talked about mailing letters. They didn't want us to send I mean, it's really nitty gritty on what they want us to do because we were just gonna send letters to every reduced
Yeah.
person. And they said, hold off on that. Wait till we hear back from them because there's a very, when you're dealing with the government, there's a very fine line that you do not cross. That's, I'm sure Wes can tell you, but.
Did you get in trouble with the government lately?
Not today.
I'm just kidding.
And I've stayed in real
Not
close
yet.
contact with
Not
DD.
yet today.
Not yet today. Our meeting's not over.
I've stayed in real contact with DD, which is our Region 16, and they're just really being very
Okay.
cautious on how we
Do
get
a
that
general
out.
announcement.
So we kind of just backed up, thought, there was a media release for your social media, so I thought,
Okay.
that's in there, I can give that out. So
Okay.
we gave it to Daisy, and Daisy posted it in English and Spanish, and we're just trying, I think really the reducer are just gonna be really happy, but I want them to know,
That it's
so they'll eat, you know, and
Yeah.
so that's something that if we can still do it after our next meeting on 9/1 and we can do those resources, we will.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have a report for the SSA? We have a written report. If we have other questions, we know who to ask.
Yep.
Ranger Roundup, Desiree.
Hello. I really don't have anything to add to my report. I did put in a big thank you for everybody who's been part of launching the second building that we were able to open this summer. And there's been a lot of extra hands that licensing changed a few things last minute on us. But everybody in the district that needed to have a part in it has really just jumped in and helped to make sure that our program is going to be successful this year. So I just wanted to reiterate the thank you for that. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Communication safety.
On safety, I put in there that all the video film has been taken care of because we thought it would be, but they did not bring enough material. So Alan has been in contact with them and we're working on it. And then we do have quite a few people interested in doing Guardian this year, so Mr. Brown's been in contact with those people to kind of feel it out, see if they're a good candidate.
Are we still talking about having the criminologist come at all? Have we ever talked about that as a board?
We've talked about it. I don't know if we want to do it now because
of the
price tag is
budget.
so high.
Yeah.
But
I wondered, since we did our budget workshop and it was snug.
Correct. We may be able to put that on the bond since that's what it's directed towards is reviewing the buildings.
A
and
safety
everything.
audit before we do safety updates.
And I don't know how booked he is at this point with, every school in Texas passing bond. Not every school, but
But, yeah.
I'm exaggerating on that. So I don't know how booked he is at this point.
But that's what he specializes in, are remodels and showing you the gaps in your buildings and.
Yeah.
Okay. He's not cheap, but.
Right.
One of the suggestions I would have for the new folks that are looking to participate in the Guardian program is that once they've been approved and been through the psychological exam and all that, when they get to their practicals, that you also invite all of the existing Guardian folks. You can't train too much and offer them the opportunity to come in and retrain at the same time that the new people are getting their initial training. That as long as we don't run into the space constraint at the range.
we talked
The more
to
training, the better.
Nick Hale and Nick Dar, and they both said that they would be willing to do that and help us out with the training, so.
Them as opposed to the DPS officer that we had last spring,
In conjunction with it.
in conjunction with him.
If somebody wanted some more extra help.
Right. What they needed to do.
Yeah, they could do like one-on-one. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Other questions? Talk about a questionnaire in there, Jason. Your first line talks about a questionnaire.
Oh,
Did
I gave it to y'all.
What? I've never
Maybe
seen
in
that.
June.
I turned mine in.
And I had.
I was on vacation. Must have left it out of my book.
So if you need another one, I can give you another one.
At this point, for every
Send
week,
me
we
a
have,
copy, because I looked for it.
Email us.
If I turn mine in.
for every
that's
week
really
that goes
weak.
by,
Yeah, I have not.
It's really quick, but
It's not bad.
that was in the middle of chaos, so I'll get you another one.
for every week that goes by that we don't have it, it's 10 points off.
Yes.
So-
Fair enough. That works.
It's like, why'd you?
I want a bonus for it.
Exactly.
Just put my picture up there, it's okay. I also-
We get extra, ours are turned in.
I think there's some teachers around that would definitely vouch for me not turning anything early.
We should send them all a letter.
Ms. Hay, curriculum instruction report. There's lots of numbers.
There are a lot of
Lots of numbers, and so I'm not gonna go over all those numbers, because we will be here a really long time unless you would prefer me to. But this is just an overview of all the results we have in thus far. There's a report on approaches, there's a report on meets, and then there's also a report on masters for the grade levels. As TA is releasing data, we are digesting it, looking at it, looking for trends. We do not have the final accountability handbook, so we can't project what we think our rating will be, since we don't know what TA is going to actually set that at. The final or the official rating won't be released until September 26th.
Which will mean October.
It will be our October board meeting, yes.
Well,
ma'am.
no, before they actually get it to us.
Well, that could be, absolutely, absolutely. Yes, you know how TA works, don't you?
Yes, I'm learning.
But the curriculum and instruction staff, they're an amazing group of ladies. They worked so hard this beginning of the school year, supporting teachers, getting a curriculum up and going. They're running around like a bunch of crazy women, doing what they can to support everyone. So I feel very blessed to have a great group of women to be working with. So thank you for allowing me to come on board and experience them.
This raw score conversion table is kind of disgusting. What? It's like a 10-point drop. They're like, oh, we made it so much harder. Sorry. 10
Yes.
points or 12 points or 15 points less is now passing.
Yes, it is. But
It's
there's also
preliminary,
the new
yeah.
STAR 2.0,
Yeah,
which made
that's
it
what I meant, the
more
new-
challenging. So they did reduce the passing rate, which
So they made it so hard, it's discouraging for kids that, yeah, you may have struggled and
school
not gotten
boards.
most of it right, but oh, you actually passed because we made it that hard. I just am so angry. Not at you.
I understand
I
your
mean,
frustration,
and I think that, for the broadcast, like, this is not, we know that
absolutely.
it has changed and what the kids are going through.
You heard my comments that we may get a little bit of relief on the
Yes,
grading.
that is
And the
great
CC
news.
marks.
Yes.
Other questions? Thank you very much. CFO report.
The disbursements start on page 46 and going through page 77. There isn't anything out of the ordinary on here. Then you'll see our cash positions and book balances, pretty good. Page 93. We're trending, of course, to probably have a little bit higher of a fund balance when we finish up Thursday, our fiscal year. We're just trying to get everything paid, and so it makes the first of the next year a little easier.
It looks like everybody's been trying to be conservative on their other operating costs and supplies, and everyone seems under budget on that. So that is We appreciate that because it's gonna be tight next year, so.
It helped to cut off the panic buying at the end of the school year last year for the stuff that's just gonna sit there all summer instead of
Actually be used.
putting it to use.
Panic buying, ooh, I like that term.
We're looking fine in all functions except for 34, we're a little tight.
Yeah.
And you'll see that in my budget amendment later on. I looked at revenue. I know we're a month early, but I feel like we're a month late at this point. We're right at 100% revenue collected, just a touch over. So, pleased with that. Last part, really. Ranger Roundup's doing awesome. Of course, Desiree, she always looks for those grants. They just got their third $80,000 check-in for this school year, so.
Fantastic.
Of course, they'll end with a fund balance. Unfortunately, if we don't get more, we're gonna use that next time. And enrollment, Mr. Brock has already covered. All my fun stuff comes later. Don't welcome any questions, disbursements, anything like that. Oh, I guess I could touch on it. Of course, our bond was funded today.
Oh.
So, PMB and I had our fun making sure everything's settled on that, and the funds are collecting interest as we speak.
Yay.
So, thank you to them. We worked hard on that all day.
Thank you. I saw where we were getting buses fixed in town, body work and windows, and all kind of spreading it out in all the
absolutely.
different places. And
Yes.
big checks to Hughes Meeting air conditioners.
I did get a total, it's $1,303.44. So it was almost at 1,900 when we first started getting paid for it, so.
What'd you say it was, 1-3?
$1,303.44.
Board will now convene in a closed meeting to discuss the following items posted on our agenda this evening as allowed by Texas Government Code. We have 551.074 personnel matters. No voting will take place in the closed meeting. Any action the board wishes to take as a result of discussion in closed session will take place after the board reconvenes in open meeting. It is now 6:42.